Hey, y'all. I'm in the South, and so I will greet you with y'all. We are on this road trip looking for where we're going to land next. And right now we're in North Carolina. I wanted to jump on today because I have some teachings that feel alive, and I wanted to share a little bit more about my own story because I think that it's pretty remarkable what I've created in my life. And I have the Life Design Planner here. This is the wonderful satisfaction wheel is what I call it. And this is one of my very favorite exercises in the Life Design Planner because I think that it really is telling. It really shows us what we're satisfied with and what we're not satisfied with in our lives. And actually, this exercise has been one of the most telling exercises for me personally. And so I like to look at it and I like to reflect on it. What I thought we could do today is go through each area that's in the satisfaction wheel, and I can talk about some of the lessons that I've learned. Feel free to chime in the chat and let me know if you have a question. And the other thing I wanted to say about this was we may be interrupted because my husband and daughter might be coming back from the park. And let's see. I think that's all I wanted to say. So satisfaction is a funny thing because it can be fleeting, I think. And so if you want to order your Life Design Planner and don't have it yet, you can go to therisecollective.org and order your Life Design Planner. Life Design Planner, you can go to lifedesignplanner.club and order your planner. So it's a funny thing because it can be fleeting. But what I find is that a lot of times when I'm unsatisfied in an area of my life, it tends to kind of repeat itself over a few months. And so then once that happens, I'm able to pinpoint it much more easily. And I'm going to move this over here so you can see me a little better. We're in this hotel room. And so let's see. I want to start with, where should we start? Well, first I'll tell you, these are the topics: love and relationships, pleasure and fun, money, resources and abundance, career and creativity, home environment, community and family, spiritual and professional development, health, lifestyle, self-care, food. And so I think what I'll start with is health, lifestyle, self-care, and food, because what I found is that the health of the body is one of the foundations. Like if you feel bad in your body, your life is going to be more challenging. That's been my experience. A few years ago, I was feeling really fatigued and just not good in my body. And this was a pretty chronic feeling. I just continually felt this way. And I thought it was normal. Because that's just how I felt all the time. I thought it was normal. And so I just kept going and just kept grinding along in my corporate job until I finally went to an acupuncturist. What happened was I actually met her at a business networking event. And she was speaking so passionately about her work with hormones. And I just got thinking, oh, that's really interesting. And her energy lit something inside of me. And so I reached out to her. I made an appointment and I went to go see her. She did blood work for me. And the blood work was, if you've ever done blood work before, you know that it tells you a lot of things about yourself. It tells you a lot of things about your deficiencies. You need more sun. You need more of these vitamins. You need to eat more of this. You need to drink more water. You need to eat more. And so I learned all of this stuff about my body. And she also started doing a weekly acupuncture session with me and giving me herbs, Chinese herbs. And I started to feel a lot better. And what I learned from this was that my whole entire life was able to have a different sort of vitality to it because my body was more vital. And my lifestyle, I realized how my lifestyle was really running me into the ground. And I won't go in too much more into depth with this because I could really go on and on. I'm an herbalist now for the past several years, and I've struggled here and there with Hashimoto's, which is thyroiditis. I have done all kinds of diets to manage my health. My husband also is really into his health and lifestyle. And self-care has really been a challenge for me. When I went and sat on the mountain in whatever year that was, 2015, I believe, there was a whole diet to prepare. And if you've ever sat in an ayahuasca ceremony, you know that you have to go on la dieta to prepare for ceremony. There are, in many ways of preparing for ceremony is through the diet. And when I prepared in this particular way for my vision quest, I noticed a huge difference in the way that I was able to communicate with the spirit world. And that is where my program Body Bliss Bootcamp came from. It really came from this delicious and juicy relationship that my body was able to come into alignment with spirit, with my spirit, my soul, through how I was preparing my body for ceremony. And I continue to work with a lot of those techniques today in my daily life. So that's kind of a lay of the land in the health and lifestyle category in the satisfaction wheel. Because if health, lifestyle, self-care, food, if those aren't all kind of buttoned up, in my experience, my life is a lot harder. So let's move on to love and relationships. Okay, this is a big one for me. I want to just talk about how I feel that I manifested my husband, which is that I was in about a 5-year relationship before I met him. And looking back, there were so many signs, and not necessarily signs, but feelings that I didn't honor in myself that were telling both of us that that was not the right relationship for us. And I understand when people are in relationship with someone who they really love and respect and want to be with, and yet it doesn't quite fit. That person isn't ready to make the changes in their life that the other person is wanting to make, or some such misalignment is happening. And so finally, that 5-year relationship, it ended beautifully. And shortly after, I just started dating again because I knew what I wanted. I'm a person who knows what I want. There are lots of people out there who don't know what they want and who struggle to even allow themselves to have a desire or to feel a longing. I'm not one of those people. And so my availability to feel desire and feel longing is a gift, and that I can share with other people and share how I allow myself to feel those feelings. So when I want something, I'm very willful. I have a strong will in human design, which I'm going to be creating a human design, Gene Keys, astrology training within the Rise Effect soon, which I'm extremely excited about because I think that these are wonderful maps to stack on top of each other and find the latent gifts in your DNA. Because if you are not aware of your gifts, you cannot wield them. And my mom always used to say to me, "You're very willful. This XYZ happened when you were a child. It showed me how willful you are." And I always used to kind of laugh it off, and come to find out it's in my human design. And so now that I have this different perspective on it, I'm able to wield it in a different way. And I can also see it in my clients because my will translates a lot into the ways that I work with my clients. If my clients do not have the will channel in their human design, my will lights them up, and my will lights up their work. And so that's a beautiful piece. Back to love and relationships. When I know that I want something, I go and get it. It has to be in an energetic way for me, especially in love and relationships, because I'm also a projector in human design. Projectors need to be invited. And so for me, drawing what I want, magnetizing what I want toward me is just about knowing what I want, being extremely specific about what I want, which is what the entire life design planner is about, right? It's all about envisioning, creating the vision, reaching out into the quantum field, reaching out and drawing it towards you. And I used to say that, well, this is another story for another time, but I used to say that the law of attraction is not what we're doing here. And I don't really think that's true anymore now that I have a new perspective on magnetism, the law of attraction, the quantum field, shamanism. All of these pieces are really informing me more about what we're doing here. And before, I was wanting to be very sensitive to this conversation about white supremacy, this conversation about people who don't. There was an idea floating in the field that people were being blamed for their circumstances, and that's not what we're up to. And law of attraction is a thing. Quantum field is a thing. And so, yes, that is what we're talking about here. Law of attraction, quantum field. And in order to magnetize what you want toward you, you have to know specifically what it is you're magnetizing toward you. So I am happy to share my extensive list of qualities that I was looking for in someone that I wanted to date. And I got myself a dating coach who is Melanie Hirsch. Her website is goodatYou.com. If you want to go check her out. She's an amazing dating coach. I feel like I owe her way more than I paid her because I met my husband through her coaching. So I met my husband after being so specific and working with Melanie for her guidance. If you really want something and you're not willing to compromise, you need to get a teacher, you need to get a coach. That's what I did. And I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on my own development, my personal evolution, and my life. I spend thousands of dollars on my personal evolution. And it's hard to own that because some people have an idea that that could be wasteful or selfish or not a good use of money. It has been the best use of my money. Spending my money on a dating coach and meeting my husband, pretty good use of my money. And I could go into lots of other ways that I've invested in my own personal evolution and created the exact situations that I want And I know that because I'm in them, they're my reality. So what is reality is what I have wanted. I'm tracking the time. I see I'm at 15 minutes and I'm only at 11 relationships. So I guess what I want to tell you is invest in yourself and be specific, especially if it has to do with relationships. And I love talking about manifesting partners, love, relationships. It's one of my biggest passions. And so we'll talk more about that. Let's see. I'm going to skip pleasure and fun for now because I know that people want to talk about money and career and creativity, home environment. Home and environment is a big one. This is another one that is foundational because if you're surrounded by a home that you can't stand or that clutters your vision, if you're living in squalor, you're not going to manifest what you desire. You're not going to create the life that you want to create. And so my personal experience with that is that I was living in a situation that I did not want to be in. This was several years ago, back in 2016, I believe. I was living in a situation that I did not want to be in. There was so much clutter in the house. Lots of strange dynamics happening. And I felt like I couldn't think. I felt like I just could not be present because I was in so much clutter. I couldn't do it. And it wasn't clutter that I could clear myself because it belonged to someone else. So I had to decide that I had to leave. And my partner at the time didn't want to leave with me because he wanted to stay in the situation that we were in. And I couldn't. I kept staying and I kept staying. And finally I said, I can't do this. This is holding me back from the life that I know I'm here to create. I knew it was holding me back. And so I said, I'm going to move to Denver. I went out and I told my friend, my closest friend at the time, I told her, I need to move to Denver. I need to get out of here. And she reached out to a friend of a friend and she found me a place to live. And it was a beautiful new apartment, total bachelor pad with my friend, John. And he was a friend of a friend. It was her brother's best friend. And he had this super zen bachelor pad. Everything was super clean. I had my own room with my own bathtub. And it was like living in a castle compared to my previous situation. And from there, oh my goodness, my life started to blossom from there because I was creating my space. I was creating from there. I couldn't create anything when I was covered in clutter. Everything was covered and cluttered. All my things were in boxes because there was no room for my things. So when I could finally spread out, kind of put everything on the table and create my space, my sacred space for my manifestation, that's when I hired the dating coach. That's when I started and I also hired a business coach at that time. So anyway, this entire part of my life that I'm talking to you about was all about creating something new. So that is home environment and money and resources. Track your money. Track what's coming in. When you are not aware of, just spending, mindless spending on the espresso here, the shirt from Forever 21 there, the new kitchen remodel, whatever it is, really think about these spending decisions that you make. I see a lot of money coaches out there saying, upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. And if you're not doing the homework of looking at your bank statement and saying, oh, I actually didn't need that. I bought that because I was sad. Or I bought that coffee because I hate my job. I feel like I deserve to buy coffee for myself in the mornings. That's what I used to do. I used to say, I deserve this meal. I deserve this happy hour because I worked so hard. I deserve to go out and get chocolate truffle in downtown Denver. I used to do that because I just hated my job and I just felt like I needed something to keep me going, man. So, and I think a lot of people get into this mess. And so we have to be very cognizant of our actual values. Like I just said, I love to spend money on me. I want to spend money on learning about herbalism, personal evolution, learning communication skills so I can have better relationships with my husband, with my daughter, with my parents, with my brothers, with my friends in my community. I want to spend money on my business. I want to spend money on, I love spending money on jewelry, not just any jewelry and clothing that's going to last for the next 10 years. Okay. I'm not shopping at Forever 21. So I know what I like to spend money on. And that's my personal development, my soul, things that I want to learn to get to the next level in my life. That's what's important to me. What's important to you? If that coffee and that truffle, that $7 coffee and truffle in downtown Denver on a daily basis to tell yourself that you deserve it, that is, I see a lot of people spending money on things that they don't necessarily need. So what I want you to take away from this money combo is when you're manifesting money, don't go out and start upgrading, getting that new car to make yourself feel a particular way. That's okay. And have you done the homework to look at your bank statement and say, oh, I didn't need that, or that didn't really make me happy, or I bought that because I felt guilty, or whatever it was. Make sure you're doing that homework, because before we upgrade, before we start calling in more. So those are a few of my personal tips, I don't like the word tips anymore. I'm trying to phase that out because I think that tips oversimplify the quantum field. I do want for you. And I want you to know that it's not easy. Yes, it's just not always easy. And putting those steps in, putting those habits in so that it can become easy, simplify things for you. So what I have shared here are a few of my personal stories, what I have learned, which I know in my human design is something that I am here to share. I'm here to share my experience, the things that have worked for me in service of them working out for you. I'd love to hear how this video was for you. And if I get on YouTube Live and subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you next time.